What up, though, everyone? Welcome back to a new episode of One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about the new Netflix original Lupin. It's not quite new anymore. It's been out for a few weeks, but I was able to check it out, and I'm just here to give my thoughts. It's a short mini series, a limited series, whatever you want to call it. I think it was like 5 episodes, something like that. It's from France, so it's entirely in French. There may be an English dub, I don't know, but I don't like watching dubs because the actors are conveying whatever emotion they're conveying, and I don't want a weird voice that's unable to convey the emotion that I'm seeing physically. So that if when that doesn't match up, it kind of takes me out of it. So I prefer to watch it as it was spoken, so I can hear the actors' inflections and whatnot, and then I can just have the subtitles on. I watch subtitles. I watch my stuff with subtitles all the time. That's how I watch my show. So I don't want to miss any dialogue. Anywho, Lupin, brand new to Netflix over the course, I think it maybe like 3 weeks ago or so. Short mini series. Essentially, it's like a heist thriller television show. Think Ocean's 11 and Catch Me If You Can. So if you've seen Ocean's 11 or any of the movies in that series, those are kind of like heist movies, right? Where it's like the whole purpose is to pull off a heist, and they bring in all these other people to kind of help make that happen. And then Catch Me If You Can is kind of like I don't know how you would really describe it, because I don't think there's necessarily a heist per se, at least not in the traditional sense of the word, that's attempting to be pulled off. But it's more like, this guy's kind of like a master of disguise, and he is essentially a criminal pulling off scams and schemes and whatnot, and changing his appearance, doing all kinds of counterfeit paperwork and stuff like that to help people believe that he is who he says he is. So Lupin's kind of a combination of those. It's more of like it uses a heist as a jumping off point, but it's kind of more of like if Catch Me If You Can was like a mystery that needed to be solved. So it's episode 1 of Lupin opens with a heist, but ultimately the show is less of a heist show and more of the heist led me to make this conclusion about what happened to my father, and now I'm going to go on this mission to figure out what happened to my father. And along the way, I'm going to have to do a whole lot of counterfeit stuff, costumes, trickery, fake personas, all that kind of shit. So that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a really fun show. I really like those types of movies and shows that are like heists, thrillers, those sorts of things. The only thing that I would say makes this a little bit not quite on the level of those kinds of things is that when you watch a lot of those types of films or TV shows, as I have, you kind of get used to how they're structured, and you kind of start looking for clues right away. And the tricky thing about this is that while it is fun, while it is visually really cool looking, I love Paris, so it was great getting to see a lot of landmarks around France. It doesn't bring anything new that would make me say this is superior to if you watched Catch Me If You Can. Whereas, with Catch Me If You Can, that was, at least for me, that I hadn't really seen anything like that before. I'm certain there's stuff like that existed, but I hadn't seen too much of it. At this point, I've seen a lot of those kinds of things, so I didn't get as much enjoyment out of Lupin as I believe you guys would, or someone who has seen these types of like caper films less than I have, because it was easy for me to see where the trickery was at. Like, these sorts of things always end in like some sort of reveal, right? And the key to the enjoyment of that film and the big moment is the reveal. So if you've already figured out the reveal well ahead of time, then it's not going to have as big of an impact. So it's more like about enjoying the ride there, as opposed to the destination really leaving you with something. Think of like if you were watching The Sixth Sense and you discovered the end twist like with like an hour left in the film or something like that. So then when the end twist comes, you're like, okay, cool, I already knew that, but all right, sweet. And you just had whether or not you enjoy the movie is based upon whether or not you enjoy the ride to getting to the twist. And that's how Lupin was for me. It was like each episode kind of ended with some sort of like reveal or twist or something where it's like, oh, so that's what he was doing. But I'd say it probably like I think it was 5 episodes. I'd say 4 out of the 5 I had the reveal figured out fairly early. I'm like, okay, so he did this and yada yada yada. And the other thing that makes it tricky is that um, the reveals are very dependent upon you kind of suspending your disbelief or overlooking or not noticing a lot of the like plot armor that allows these things to happen. Um, the best way to kind of do these sorts of things where you have these tricks where you expect your viewer to not see, the sleight of hand throughout the course of the show or the movie, and then to be surprised at the ending, is to make it so that when you hit the people with the surprise at the end, they can then reflect and go, "Oh, I there were those clues. I just missed them, or I didn't know that they were there because I didn't know where we were going." And that helps make it more fulfilling because then you can go, everything that's here to make this add up exists. What was tricky with Lupin, at least again for me, is that there were a lot of things that just kind of needed to happen to make those reveals possible. It wasn't like it was entirely orchestrated by Lupin. There were a lot of things that a lot of ways these things could have gone wrong and that they should not have been successful, but they kind of just were because that's the way to get that reveal. So, sometimes the reveals were a little unfulfilling just because I figured them out, or I looked at it like, yeah, so maybe Lupin is doing blank, but that was only successful because all of these different things came together that were outside of his control. Like a random person walks by, like that. Like, give you an example. In the very first episode, the heist that I referred to at the beginning takes place in the Louvre, which is in Paris, and he assigns three individuals to kind of help break in because he works there. He assigns these three individuals to kind of help break him in and help with this plan. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil the plan or anything like that. But there's a moment where they're going into the Louvre through the entrance that the staff goes through, and they have cleaning supplies because they're on the janitorial staff, and they slide their janitorial supplies, around a metal detector. They go through the metal detector, retrieve their cleaning supplies, and then swipe a badge. When they swipe their badge, a picture and name comes up on a screen that matches the badge. So theoretically, if you are security, you can be looking at that screen and you can see everybody who's badging in. Each of the three individuals that he gave fake badges to, the person who was actually on the badge didn't look anything like them. And then the third one was a completely different gender. So like that was played up for laughs, I think, but that kind of took me out of it because I'm like, there's no way security at the Louvre is not going to notice the one who was a different gender. It was like a big burly kind of guy. Think Batista from WWE and from he plays why am I drawing a blank on his name? Guardians of the Galaxy. Drax. Jeez, what the fuck? So yeah, think Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Imagine now, what do you think the likelihood is that Drax from Guardian of the Galaxy, put him in a normal skin color, but somebody who is that noticeable in stature and size, is going into the Louvre through the staff entrance. He swipes a badge that shows a woman's name and a woman's picture, and no one's gonna see this. They're like, hey, that guy that looks like Batista just scanned a badge that shows a 70-year-old woman. Now, throughout through the show, you might think, oh, this is funny, this is played for laughs. Like, oh, that doesn't look anything like him. But like that took me out of it. Because that's one of those things where it's like, I need to accept the fact that no one is looking at this screen. No one on the security in the Louvre is looking at this screen to see that this badge does not match the person who just swiped it. And if no one's looking at it, what's the point of the fucking swiper or the screen? Like there's no point of having a screen. Just take away the screen. If they swipe their badge and it makes a green light and a beep, positive sounding beep instead of a buzzer, let them through. But if you put a screen up, I can't believe that you're not looking at it. And that's what I needed to believe in that moment, was that they're not looking at this screen. So like, that's just a small example of the kinds of things that take me out of it. And a lot of that was necessary for Lupin to pull off a lot of the tricks that he did. But having said that, it was still really entertaining because like at the end of the day, I look at heist movies kind of the same as I look at comedies. When I look at a comedy, I'm not going like, there's a plot hole here. This doesn't make sense. How did this character end up here? This is paced weird. Why did they edit that? Like, I'm not looking at it through that lens. I look at it as, how much did I laugh? That's it. I don't care how, and everything else is secondary. So if I laughed a lot and the lead in the film or the TV show did an excellent job and had a lot of great acting moments, sweet. But they could stink. As long as I laughed, it's cool. And I kind of look at heist movies the same way. Um, I caught several things throughout this, things that didn't make sense necessarily, things that took me out of it, and then like I said, things where you just kind of gotta just let it go and just kind of roll with it. And that was noticeable, and it did make it so that the endings weren't as rewarding for me on most of the episodes. But at the end of the day, I judge these heist films on how entertained was I. And Lupin's really entertaining. I watched those 5 episodes, I think, over the course of 2 days. I watched 3 on one day, 2 on another, or the reverse, whatever. And it was fun. I think the lead actor Omar Sy is really good. I know I've seen him in about some other stuff, but I can't really recall it right now. But I think it's fairly well written. I think he's, aside from the things that I've already mentioned, I think he's a very dynamic personality. It's got some pretty good action sequences. It's got some pretty good, like I said, tricks, reveals, all that kind of stuff. So if you're into like plot twists and reveals and surprises and all that kind of shit, Lupin's right up your alley. So I judge it based on how good of a time I had watching it, and I would still recommend it. I don't think that the issues that I had with it would necessarily be issues for everyone else, because like I said, I've watched so many of these things that I can see those clues that tell me like, okay, I see what happened here. But if you're not somebody who watches those, or doesn't watch them with the kind of eye that I do, you probably won't catch them. The reveals will come at the end. You'll be blown away, and it'll be a great time. And that's probably why the show's been so wildly successful and so well reviewed. So I really enjoyed Lupin. For those of you who might be really in tune with that style of television or film, there might be some things that you might catch and that might take you out of it. But otherwise, like, I think the vast majority of people would enjoy that. This is one of those things where anybody can watch and enjoy this. You know, I've had videos or podcasts where I'm like, if you are not a big sci-fi person, you're not going to like this, because this shit is heavy duty sci-fi. This is kind of heist films and things with those twists. Those things are universally enjoyable as long as they are not awful. And Lupin's pretty fun. And there's a second part that's going to be coming out in the summer. So this is part 1, and it was five episodes again, I believe. And there's going to be a part 2 in the summer. Part 1 ends with a cliffhanger. And I also believe that, I'm not going to say it here, but I think there is a big overarching reveal that I'm kind of piecing together, like how could this happen? What would be the motivation for it? You know, all that kind of stuff. So I have one kind of like big reveal that I think will affect the entire series. That I'm wondering if it's going to be true or not. But I'll be all in on part 2 whenever it drops, and then I'll be talking about it here. So that's all I got on Lupin. Going forward, I have a few things that I kind of wanted to go over. I'm not out of shows by any means. I have a long list of things that I could watch, but things have started to slow down just a bit. I don't have like 8 different things that I'm kind of like ready to go with, like got this. But the cool thing is there's always something new coming out, especially this year with the pandemic. So HBO Max is dropping feature-length films that would be in theaters. They're dropping them on HBO Max. Who else? Netflix obviously is putting out new content every week, as they always have. So there's a lot of cool stuff. So coming up, let's see. So tonight I'll be watching The Expanse. I'll have that video up tomorrow, which will be Wednesday the 3rd. That's the season finale. So that'll be the last Expanse one. Friday we'll have WandaVision again. And then I am currently wrapping up Schitt's Creek. I'll have a video for that. Once I'm done with it, I would imagine that will be late next week. There will be a UFC event this Saturday, so I will have a fight talk on Sunday. And then I'm starting up a couple of new shows, and then I also have a couple projects. So one of the new shows I'm watching is Gomorrah on HBO Max. It's a television show from Italy that has 4 seasons in the can so far, with a 5th airing sometime later this year. And 3 of those seasons are on HBO Max. So I started that. I'm almost through the first season. What I'm probably going to do is do a video for each season. And then rather than trying to go through the whole thing and then just doing a whole thing wrap up at the end, especially since the show's not even over yet. If I can get season 5 as it's airing, because it's going to air in Italy first, long before HBO Max gets it, because HBO Max doesn't even have the 4th season up yet. Um, I don't want to try to overload, make it so that it's months before I can do anything with Gamora. Where I'd rather be able to, have it, every couple weeks. Here, season one, season two, season three, etc. So I'm almost done with season one. There's a strong possibility I'll finish it today. So that will be coming down the pipe, and then a couple of special projects I'm working on. I got the TV Things project that I took a poll on Facebook and got a bunch of data from that. So I have it's basically gonna be my top television themes of all time, but then I'm also gonna give you guys' responses as well. So that should be cool. And then a long-term project that I want to do, and I think this is gonna be really fun. You know how right now, full share with you guys, I'm 39 years old. There's a lot of shows that I watched when I was, say, a teenager that I thought were absolutely awesome. Like the A-Team, good example, right? I really enjoyed the A-Team, Mr. T, all that cool shit. It was like kind of like a caper kind of movie, guys like committing capers and shit. Really enjoyed the A-Team. Is the A-Team going to hold up by 39-year-old Mike standards versus, say, 15-year-old Mike who was just enamored with like that kind of shit? Like, now am I going to look at that and be like, this show actually isn't that good? So what I want to do for my next project is to kind of like go back and look at old shows and see if they still hold up today. So it might be a thing where maybe I'll watch a whole series, maybe I'll just watch a few episodes, maybe I'll just watch a first season, whatever. But I want to kind of go back and revisit old shows that are either universally popular or popular to me, or not popular to me, good to me, and then see if I think that they still hold up. So that's another project that I got going on. And then once I'm done with Gamora and Schitt's Creek, I'll probably start. I'll have a fresh thing for that me and my wife will watch together, which is Schitt's Creek right now. When that's over, we'll find something new. And then there's always like a just me thing, which is Gamora right now. With both of those, well, Gamora's not so much getting wrapped up, but once I'm done with Gamora, I'm probably gonna move on to Cobra Kai or maybe something a little heavier. I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably do the same thing with that, like season by season by season. And then my wife and I will figure out something else too. So still lots of content, UFC events every week for the foreseeable future. So there'll be fight talks every Sunday. So still a whole lot of content. Tell your friends. I'm out here putting in work. This is probably around my like 45th video in like 2 months. So really putting a lot of work in. I'm trying to get up out these day jobs, y'all. I'm not trying to do this shit. So I'm trying to do this shit. I love watching. My favorite part of my day is after my kids go to bed. I have about a 3-hour window where I can like watch shows and movies and shit like that, and then come and record these videos. If I could do that for like 12 hours out of the day instead of 3, that'd be fucking awesome. So that's kind of what I'm working toward, but I need you guys' support. I ain't asking nobody for no money. All I need is the fucking YouTube views. So share the links, share the page, retweet, all that kind of stuff. Build those numbers up so that the YouTube algorithm can kind of help me out, get some of these strangers in here other than the people who watch my Expanse videos. Shout out to y'all. And that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.